Hello there, this is David Ralph from Join Up Dots, and this is the Podcaster's Mastery module on using the 80-20 principle to make sure that you focus in on the things that bring the most results to you. Now, if you haven't heard of the 80-20 principle, it's known as Pareto's law, and in simplicity, somebody worked out that 80% of the wealth of Italians, of the whole country, was held by only 20% of the population. And I thought, this is interesting. So they started looking into it, and it seemed that time and time again, the same equation came up. If you throw seeds out into the garden, out of all the flowers that grow out of those seeds, only 20% will actually do anything. And so the 80% of the garden is coming up based on just those 20%. All the rest don't do anything at all when you throw them into the ground. Now, when you look in your own work, this is a key thing that you need to do, and you really need to focus in on where are your results coming from. So certainly in podcasting land, your number one result should come from the creation of your content, putting your podcast out into the world. Now, that is what we're aiming for. We're aiming for listeners, we're aiming for an audience, we're aiming for loyalty, and that can only occur by you delivering that content to the world. So that's a simple example. So your number one principle is you need to get content out there so that people can listen. Without that, the show's dead. Now, if you think about it and you drill down, how much of your efforts are taken up with promotion and using things on Twitter, and how much is actually taken up with just doing the show? So as you proceed through, you need to work out where your energies are best focused. Are you spending time on Twitter and Facebook and all those other social media platforms where actually you're not getting your just rewards? Are you getting more of your rewards by just throwing it onto iTunes and building more and more content? So what you need to do is every now and again assess your process. If you are using Twitter, then stop it for a couple of days and see what happens and plot that. You may find that you're using Twitter constantly, and when you actually stop it and you don't do it, not much happens. So you think to yourself, right, okay, what is the point in spending all my time writing out tweets and sending it out if nobody's looking at it and it's not driving traffic to either my website or iTunes and ultimately downloading the show? The other thing you might be doing is putting statuses on Facebook, and when you're on Facebook, obviously you look around, you see some other things. Are you spending too much time doing that and not ultimately bringing the rewards to your show? Is that giving you any rewards? Stop posting on it. Does that do anything at all? If you increase the posting, does that make a difference? So it's all about testing to work out what 20% of your efforts are bringing about the other 80% of results. Now, if you spin it on its head, that means if you're only taking 20% of your time to get that 80% of the results, you can quite simply live a life and just come back and do those things time and time again. But that's a simple route, and you can do that actually when you need to refresh yourself and you think, oh, I can't get away from the show, it needs to go out. You can actually think, well, I'll just do those bits and then I can leave it for a few days if you need to. And it's really sort of valuable to grow your energy levels back up again. So what I have done, I have looked at every aspect of my show that I've been doing, and I stop and start it to see if it has any relevance. Am I just doing it because everybody else is doing it, or does it make a difference because it actually does make a difference and I should be doing that? And I've looked at changing my logo. I've looked at changing the wordings on my logo. I've looked at Twitter, Facebook, all the social media, putting show notes on, having longer introductions, less introductions. And I've drilled down to the key elements that are effective for my show. So I was literally wasting 80% of my time when I can just focus in on those 20% and make sure that they are more valuable for my show. Now, I would love to be able to go to you. This is what you need to do. Do this, and you will be sorted. But of course, it's totally different for yours. And your listeners might have different requirements that you need to cater for. So focus in on it and do testing all the way through. Work out what is working for your show and what's not. And when you find the things that are working the best, then do more of them. and do more of them. And you will find that a lot of your time was just going out the window and it wasn't actually leading towards increasing your audience figures and having the show that you want at the top of all the charts. So that's the 80-20 principle. You can go over to Google and you can type it in for more details, but go over there if you do want to do that and sort of dwell around on it. But the bottom line is, don't spend too much time on that, because that's ultimately not going to bring you the rewards, ironically. Just keep focusing in on what you're doing. Is this task something I've always done, or is it actually bringing rewards to the show?